Dawson Rider Review.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with a review of S.H.Figuarts Kamen Rider Wizard Flame Styles. So let's go ahead and just jump right into this and take a look at the packaging, because there's quite a little bit to cover, but not that much. I don't know what I'm saying with that. The packaging for this is actually pretty neat. As you know, if you follow these reviews or this line, they have been doing some unique style packaging. So we've got this really cool, it's a lot thicker of a packaging because of the stuff he comes with, but it's mainly black. You've got this cool design around the outside here, a cool design right here on the front, clear plastic. A picture of the Wizard Flame Styles right here. The figure looks really nice. Jewel right there. It's just this overall really cool looking box here that fits the style of the show very well. On the side here you got the name in this little window, and on this side here you have the name again, the Figuarts, and the jewel. And on the back here it shows you all the poses you can get him in and stuff and what he comes with. On the top you got his name yet again, and on the bottom the numbers you need to call. So overall, pretty neat little packaging. He comes with a pretty decent amount of stuff. As you can see here, we have his tray of stuff. As usual, you do get a bunch of different hands. He comes with the punchy hands on him. You can see he's got like gigantic wizard rings, and they all each have their own individual designs. You can see Flame's ring right there. I switched them to the more elegant hands on one of the versions. And then you can see there's the driver on ring. They look really big in the fist mode in particular. But here on the more relaxed hands, they don't look quite as bad. Here you have some more sort of relaxed hands. That one goes along with the flame one I have on him. You've got some more sort of relaxed hands. You've got some just kind of standing or sitting there hands, and then you've got some hands for holding the weapons. Speaking of the weapons, you do get the sword and the gun of the Wizard Sword Gun. They're actually really well done, like usual with the Figuarts weapons. They have really nice details on them. And fantastic silver paint job. All the details are done really nicely in there. You've actually got this clear tube there. You can see my finger go through it, which is really nice. Here's the little hand. It does indeed open. Even the hand comes out, or the thumb comes out like that. So that is pretty cool. Very nicely done there on that front. Same here with the sword. Very nicely done. Great paint. A nice sharp look to the blade. The hand does yet again open, which is really cool. So very, very nicely detailed. Nice stuff going on there. He comes with alternate version of the driver to have the hand go the other way, as well as an alternate version of the whole belt for when he's doing more of an action pose. So here's the driver. It's actually pretty nicely painted. It's a little bit clear there, so that's kind of a nice touch. It's a very basic driver, so there's not much to do. And then here is the alternate version here. And as you can see, actually has all the rings on there. You got water, hurricane, land, and then just some like generic ones for spells. So that's pretty neat. You also get this effect part here for a flowing cape piece, so you can separate his body and put this on. This is the one that comes with him by default, and there was a bonus piece that comes in like one of those little gray black boxes, which is this one, which is another one for the kick strike. So I'm going to be showing this one at the end. I think it would be tedious just to show both of them. And then obviously you can tell because he's got the big box, not just because of the cape, but he does come with a stand. It says Kamen Rider Wizard Flame Styles. You got a spell circle. It's a pretty nice looking stand, but if you know me, you know I'm not really a fan of these. So now moving on to the figure itself. This is going to be a bit of a mixed bag because this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it does have quite a bit of issues. But let's go ahead and we'll take a look at the figure, as usual, starting from the top with the head. Now, as far as the head sculpt on its own, I think they did a really nice job. The proportions are well done, and the compound jewel face looks really good. It's got a beautiful shine to it. It even comes off a little bit better off camera. It's got like this perfect balance of shininess and dark. So this looks really beautiful. They got the little jewel up here also, which looks really nice, which can catch the shine like that. So I think on the whole for that, they did a good job. Really cool looking, nice proportions. That being said, his neck has a bit weird proportions. Like if I pull it back like that, it doesn't look quite as bad, but if I just have him facing any sort of normal frontward pose, he doesn't have that much of a neck, and it almost looks like he's got a giant head. And then obviously this collar is going to hinder it, so it makes for some very odd things going on. As far as the chest here, you do have some really solid paint. It actually doesn't look too dissimilar from the WAP, just a little bit lighter. I will be comparing the two shortly. But you got the nice sort of jewel effect here, which looks nice, and the nice red paint here. The black details on his arms and such are well done. You have the nice little folds here to make it look like it's actual cloth. As I showed you, you do have the actual details on the rings. There's the cuffs. So that's all pretty well done. You saw the driver. I do have quite a bit of problems with the driver popping off because this piece obviously pops off the belt. This is the normal kind of stationary holder here. Now, I didn't think this was a big a deal until I actually sat down to get ready for this review, but here's a skirt piece. It is a soft plastic to lend leverage for articulation, but it does look very poofy, which is a bit annoying. So there's that. I just got it totally flipped around. See, there we go, the driver coming off, so I'm just going to leave it off for this. And I'll mention this again when you switch it out, but the switching out's kind of annoying too. But the legs are all fine. The skirt itself is painted fine, it just looks very poofy. So yeah, you've got a lot of problems there. And also, here in his chest-waist area, there's some weird proportion issues where, like, if I don't get him situated just right, he looks like he's hunching over. And it's very hard to get around. It just looks very strange. He's got a lot of weird dysfunctional features going on. As far as articulation goes, you pretty much the standard. You've got a nice neck joint here and a 360 ball joint on his head. Like I said before, it is hindered by his collar. You've got your 360 ball joint here on his arm, so you do get the nice range of movement. Excuse me. Swiveling here on his arm. Your double elbow joint here. Obviously swiveling at his hands, swiveling at the chest and waist, as you could see when I was going over the chest. And then a 360 ball joint here at his leg, swiveling at his leg as well, double knee joint, swiveling at his foot. You've got a nice ball joint here, so you get some decent all-around movement. And then you have your toe joint here for toe bending. That's not like part of Avatar. But no really loose joints to speak of. His legs do feel a little, I don't want to say loose, but looser than like a normal joint, but they're not like loose to the point of where I think it's going to fall off, or move on its own, although it could potentially turn into that in the future. So yeah, like I said, a lot of weird proportion problems. He does also feel very small, which I suppose he kind of is. Man, I just can't get that on. Now we're going to, I'm just going to kind of get him in a generic standing pose for this. I'm going to compare him to the WAP figure because there's actually quite a bit about that, and after I compare it, I'm going to once again mention it in the final verdict. So the reason I'm comparing it right now as opposed to near the end is because I'm going to put the other cape piece on him and possibly get him in a kicking pose. So obviously, here's Figuarts Wizard. You know, I've been manhandling him for the last few minutes. And here is WAP Wizard. Actually, WAP Wizard is taller. You can see quite a difference here. I think that his helmet is a bit more accurate. That being said, I really enjoy the helmet on the WAPs. Because of the nature of the light-up gimmick, you get this very cool effect. The chest parts are all well done. And overall, the WAP is a really good substitute for the figure. Obviously, you get better articulation with the Figuart, but he's got better proportions. You do have like the painted things for the rings there, but the belts aren't too dissimilar because of the similar styles of them. But yeah, those are those two next to. Oh wow, he's just not helping his case at all. But so yeah, in this case the WAP can actually hold his own in a little matchup here. As you can see, when he's just standing here, he looks hunched over. I'm having a hard time getting him to not hunch over. His head is kind of slumped and he doesn't have a neck. And he just makes him look like he can't even, like I'm trying to just get him in a generic, I'm just going to stand here pose and he looks silly. So as you can see, yeah, I will, in the final verdict, talk more about that because I really want to quickly now show you how to switch out his pieces here. So to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and disassemble this. So you just pull that off there and then pull this skirt piece off. And there are 4 little pegs here which you are going to line up to the top, which is, what I was going to mention, really annoying on the piece that I just pulled off because it's more of a flimsy rubber type deal so that you can get that movement. It's really difficult to actually line them up. So I'm going to switch out the drivers here because I'm going to be doing the kicking pose. See, this one flows more back into it. So then you're just going to put them back together. So he can actually look pretty cool when you get these pieces on him. I just totally messed up his joint here. As opposed to the really poofy skirt piece that you have before. Okay, so we pretty much got that. So now I'm just going to actually switch out the driver piece too. For some reason this one stays on a bit better, but it's really annoying. I almost wish they had included a gimmick where you could actually slide the belt to turn. This may end up falling off and I may end up having to put it back on again later. But pretty annoying. So I'm going to turn him around so I can get this pose right. We are going to put him on, this is something I typically don't do, and it might go off camera for a few seconds, but I don't typically do these type of poses for the end of reviews, but I'm going to do it for this one. It's not going to be the best pose ever. I'm just going to kind of get him as close as possible to wrap this around. He's actually looking pretty silly right now with the way I got him. So you can kind of see it forming, and then I will put this around him for the final verdict. There's one reason I'm doing this, because as I said, I typically do not like these stages and don't usually use them, but there is a reason behind this. And that is, now I got him in it, that he looks, look, you can't even see him, he looks quite a bit cooler when doing that. As I said, it fixed the skirt piece problem if you have him doing this, and because he's got already hunched over and stuff for looking down and for his chest, this makes him look a lot cooler than he would normally. That being said, you're buying a highly articulated figure you're likely going to want to change poses on and mess around with, so you don't want to just keep him in one pose, but he does look pretty cool there. Overall, to be honest, as I said, this wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be based on pictures, but I am pretty disappointed with it. It's got a lot of weird lanky problems. It does look pretty cool like this. But my recommendation is, I think if you get this, then you're not going to be that upset, but it does have quite a bit of problems. But my recommendation actually to you is to get the WAP line. There may be some slight inaccuracies in the colors, but they are very well done representations. And the main reason is because water styles, hurricane styles, and land styles are going to be exclusives, and they're going to be using the same mold, so they will likely be getting many of the same problems. And the fact is that I got this retail, so I'm fine with it. I was going to get it anyway. I'm not upset about having it. But if I were to pay the higher exclusive prices for a very wonky figure like this, I would be upset, especially when it would cost upwards of probably $150 to finish them all. And the WAP ones are a lot cheaper. You can get them at a regular retail store, not like a Target or something, but a regular Japanese retail store. You don't have to go through a middleman. And you can get all the forms cheaply, and they're very nicely done, nice proportions. So if you're trying to get all the forms, I recommend, this in particular for the first core forms, get the WAP figures. They're a lot cheaper and a little bit better done in a lot of ways. Granted, you do get a little bit more articulation, but it's kind of an easy trade-off. So it's unfortunate this is a bit of a disappointment. But until next time, make sure you check out the Crazy Toku podcast at writersrangersandrambles.com. Until next time, this is Dawson Rider, signing out.